Thank you so much for attending my tier list on the personas in Dota 2. So this has been a while coming, ever since I made the Arcana tier list, which was more of a guide on how to spend your free Arcana token, but it doubled as that. And the personas to me, well, first off, there's obviously way fewer of them, right? So this is going to be a much shorter tier list. But the personas to me are way more interesting than the Arcanas. Several years ago, Valve made the decision that all Arcanas are going to be compatible with all of the other skins that a character has. And that means that they can't really rework heroes the way that I want them to. There's a lot of constraints with them, especially when heroes have 10 years of skins behind them that all the Arcanas have to adapt to. But the personas are different. These are standalone skins. You equip them as an entire unit. You can't mix and match them. There are some variants of the personas that you can use, and some of them have mix and match. But for the most part, it's just Valve taking the gloves off and doing whatever the hell they want to do with this hero. The personas are also much less exclusive. There have been several re-releases of them. Basically, it's just normal skins. If they do re-release an Arcana, it's going to be an ultra rare, and you're going to pay out the ass for it. But the personas, they sometimes put them in as basic skins, which is quite nice. It's very kind of Valve to do that. Another note about this is that it is a tight tier list. There are only 4 tiers, and if you look at the labels for them, it goes S, A+, A minus. And I think that all of the personas are very good. There is one that I particularly dislike, and we'll be talking about it soon. But even I have to admit that it is an interesting idea that was executed pretty well. All of the personas are good, at the very least. Some are great, and we'll talk about them. We're going to be going through this in roughly chronological order of release. And the first ever persona that was available in the game was Invoker, I think. So Invoker is an interesting one. It was the first one, which meant that it kind of set the groundwork for how personas are going to be. And I think they did a good job. I think they genuinely did a good job. I think this one's an A+, for a couple of reasons. The first one is I think the voice work on it was fantastic. There is a certain thin line that Valve had to walk where the voice was annoying for everyone in the match except for the Invoker player. And that is a very difficult tightrope to walk, and I think Valve nailed it. I think they did a really good job. It is higher pitched. It's got like that hollowness to it. If I were in charge of the voice direction on this, I would make his voice crack all the time because it would be funny. But I can understand why Valve didn't do that. He is more prepubescent anyway, I guess. So he's a very interesting take on the concept of Invoker. Invoker, as an adult, is very like arrogant and a bit holier than thou almost. So making him a super smug like kid makes a lot of sense. It is very believable that this actually was Invoker as a child at some point, but it also heavily contrasts with his normal personality. However, as the first one, it set the ground rule that personas will not have the Immortal / Arcana special effects on all of their spells and abilities, which is a shame. Because I think if you did have the opportunity to remix Invoker's entire kit, you could do some really interesting things with it. It would also be confusing. This hero also just already clogs up the screen with a bunch of bullshit to begin with, so having a brand new set of bullshit to have to learn and parse might be a little bit difficult. But also, all of his spells are like so iconic and different from each other, I don't think it would really be that hard. But it's fine. It's fine. Him being a little shit in his animations is quite good. I love the cartwheel that he does. I think it's very fun. More heroes should just begin doing gymnastics spontaneously, I think. And Invoker pulls it off quite well. The variants of this one, which are not going to be the primary thing we rate, but are going to be mentioned, there are multitudes of them. This is a very popular one for Valve and workshop artists to take a crack at. The one that gives him like a beard and makes him look like the king from Candyland, that one is probably my favorite. I think I have it. I don't play Invoker, but if I did, I would use that one. Because I cannot afford to make him look like Sasuke. And make him, or also like Goku, I guess. You make him sort of a Goku Sasuke hybrid. This one's good. It's an A+. It's an A+. The second one is going to be Anti-Mage, who I am not going to use the other common name for this persona because it is a rude word to say. Her name is Wei, by the way. But Tish, Wei. It's like a Chinese name, and she has it. Her voice is fine. That's kind of the first thing that I want to focus on. It's very like run-of-the-mill Dota girl, which is fine. You know, that's an absolutely okay thing to be. She's in very good company. I don't know if she shares a voice actor with Windranger, but I think she does. I'm just not 100% sure. I didn't bother to look it up. whole shtick is about as anime as I ever want Dota 2 to get. Kez was a huge step over that line, but Anti-Mage was okay. I can tolerate how anime she is. The variants for this are all even more anime. They are addicted to giving her like samurai swords and like the Naruto Anbu masks and like all of that, making her look like the Shogun. And it's very boring. If you did the cash vote recently, you saw like 4 or 5 of those sets, and they're all eh. The one set, I think there's like 2 current like samurai sets in the game for her. One of them has those little zigzag paper patterns along her waist. Those are actually called shide, and they represent the presence of minor spirits, which implies that her hoo-ha is haunted. This has no impact on where I'm putting her on the tier list. I just want other people to know that. Now, in terms of the visuals, she is pretty, like, the problem I have with her is that she basically just looks like Anti-Mage. Like, she is a human, just like Anti-Mage. She's like an adult, just like Anti-Mage. She looks like Anti-Mage, like, look. She has the same, like, tribal tattoos, and, like, her hairstyle is pretty wacky, but, you know, that's fine. Anti-Mage has this, like, weird mohawk thing going on. But all the abilities and the animations that they have are, like, all the exact same. Her weapons are the same. Her clothes are the exact same. The palette is the same. It's too similar, which I think is the main problem with this and the reason why it's an A as opposed to A+. It reminds me of was it Dishonored 2? The shtick with Dishonored is that when you played as Corvo from the first game, he could use Blink, which is a short-range teleport, just fine, but like she couldn't. The apprentice girl couldn't do it. Here, the apprentice girl can do it just fine. And by the way, that's who she is. She is Anti-Mage's adopted apprentice. She also has 0 backstory. If she did have a backstory, it would probably just be like her parents got killed by wizards, which is like, okay, cool. So maybe I should regret asking for this. The biggest pro that I have for her is that the MVP screen is very cool. She's in like a tea meditation room with all of its own models and everything, and that's quite nice. If the personas ever get a lore dump update, I would really like to read what Waze is. I think having some kind of backstory of what her deal is would go a long way towards helping. Next up is Pudge. This is the one that I hate. It's ugly as shit. It is funny, and that's mostly what you want in a Pudge skin. You either want Pudge to look like a creepy horror movie villain, or you want him to look like a big old goofball. And what's funny is the Arcanas and the Personas kind of come together to create that perfect dichotomy. If you want to be a silly little fella, you go with the Persona, because he's like a stuffed doll who's all messed up and funny. And then if you want to be that gross horror movie monster, you go for the Arcana, which is quite interesting. However, he also has an Arcana, and you can't use them both at the same time, which is pretty rough. I think if they made a stuffed version with the hooks coming out of its back, that would actually be kind of cool, like a Chucky doll type thing, but I don't expect them to ever do that. The variants of this also suck. They're all big memes. The only good one is the mariachi one from the was it Dread Reckoning? The Muerta event. That one. The one that turns him into a mariachi is very good, and I liked it. The reason this one is down here is because I think it detracts too much from what I want out of a Pudge skin, because I am a horror movie type skin enjoyer. I actually don't like horror movies in real life, but if I'm playing as Pudge, I want to be spooky, scary. So this really removes a lot of that. Also, one more note on the variants is that if they put the Polly Pocket Pudge set from the most recent cache in the game, I'm quitting Dota for good. That'll be what finally drives me away from this game. The real reason it's an A-, because I'm going back and forth like crazy on this, is because when it walks around, it makes an annoying tuba sound. Like, you know the bit where it's like, no, it like does that whenever he walks around, and it's very annoying. Now, when you're playing as Pudge, you hear it constantly, and so it just sort of fades into the background and you don't notice it. But when you're playing with Pudge, and he waddles up to your lane to miss a hook and like leech a bunch of XP, you just hear that like do, and it sucks, and I hate it so much. Fun fact about this one, when the shard was in the game where Pudge could eat his homeboys, whenever you would let them out, it played this really cool like spring sound, like a broken toy spring Jack-in-the-Box type sound effect. And that was I always thought that was a really fun detail on it, but that's gone. And it was one of my favorite things. So this one's an A- for me. I don't blame people who like it, but as someone who has the Arcana and the Persona, I would never use the Persona, straight up. The Arcana to me is just way better. It's way more fun, and because it is competing with that Arcana, which is true for 2 other heroes on this list, it really gets down a couple of pegs for me. But I understand why if you really like it. These next 2 we're gonna kind of be doing as a set, are we? Not really. Yeah, we are. So the DK one, I'm gonna put it in A. The Mirana one is an A+, and I'll tell you why. There's some secret sauce to this. So first off, let's just let the cat out of the bag here. When these got added to the game, especially with Mirana, because people hate Mirana's base model, these should have just been hero remodels. Straight up. I wouldn't have been upset if they were like, the old DK is gone, this is DK now, and updated all of his cosmetics. It would have been a ton of work, because DK has a ton of cosmetics, and he has the dragons. Maybe you could have left the dragons the same, just put like a shader effect or something to make them look a little bit more Pixar-y, like these 2 have. But these should have just been remodels, especially Mirana. Like, even big-time Mirana players don't feel that attached to the shitty Mirana model that we have. She also has a lot of skins, and she has a mount, which is like also a lot of work to update all of the mounts to look more like Sagan does. But it would have been a huge amount of work, but Valve should have just done it. You know, I'm never the guy to be like, Valve should have worked harder, but like in this case, I will be. At least for Mirana. You could keep old DK in the game, but like, man, Mirana's face is like fucked up. As far as notes go, these are fine. The kind of cool thing about them is, first off, they're from the anime, so if you are a big Dragon's Blood fan, you can be, oh boy, I'm just like my favorite anime character, Dragon Knight. But they also have cool little swap things that you can do from when they came out. I think they were in the Battle Pass. So you can like put a helmet on DK, you can give him a different sword. The sauce with Mirana that I'm about to drop on you right now, if you don't know about this, you should, is that what you do is you apply the new armor, the dress, the upgraded one that looks really cool, and then you put the back from the original one on it as well. And what this does is it gets you the cool dress armor, but then it also has the cape on the back. That's the sauce. You do that, it's a great persona. If you don't do that, But now that you know about it, you should go and do that, like right now. Don't forget, for the next time you play Mirana. The big problem that I have with both of these is that, and it's not a licensing thing, there's no way it's a licensing thing, but there's no future variants for these. These are just going to be the way that they are. All 3 of these get re-released, oh, whoopsie daisy. All 3 of these get released with new versions that kind of update what they look like and give them an even more distinct aesthetic. But these 2 will never get them. You never see them. I don't even know if it's possible to make them. I don't know if like the models are released for people to tinker with. And I think that's a shame. I think it'd be really cool to have like new versions of these. So that's a big downside. And that also means that these are basically Battle Pass Arcana tier, and that if you didn't get them, you're never gonna get them. Whereas the rest of these, you can get them in the future. Mirana has the sauce. She goes in A+. Next up is the PA one. Well, yeah, we'll talk about the PA one. So these came out at like roughly the same time, in the same way that the Pudge and these came out at the roughly same time. So the CM one, I think, is actually the best because it understood my assignment that I gave Valve that they didn't know about. And they aced it this time. One of the things I really like about Personas is that they get to go hog wild. They get to completely rework the hero, and they don't have to worry about any of the existing cosmetics. So you can go crazy. And Invoker is going a little bit crazy. Anti-Mage is like mildly crazy. These are like anime model swaps, so like that's kind of crazy. And then Pudge is like, I hate it. So, but this is like an entirely new concept, 100% divorced from Crystal Maiden and what she looks like. So this is a wolf, in case you didn't know. Crystal Maiden has a bit of a wolf motif going on, not so much with her visuals, but like in her line, she talks about the wolves of Ice Rack. There's like the howling version of the ultimate that she gets with her Arcana. So it's a nice way of tying that motif in. It took a hero, completely remixed the identity to emphasize a smaller part of that hero's identity, regardless of what they look like before. To me, I feel like if Dota 2 was made today, this is what Crystal Maiden would look like. If Valve was hitting the drawing board and was like, okay, we're going to make a Dota 3, in the same way that they made LC a man and like took away her horse, I guess his horse at the time, this is what they would do to CM. They would make CM a wolf, and it'd be cool. I don't know if Lena would be a like wolf sister, or maybe they would still be sisters and Lena just is a human, which would raise some questions about the already very questionable family those two came from. But the idea is there. It's a very original concept. I can't think of a magical talking ice wizard dog in any other piece of media. And it also kept the pet from the Arcana, which is nice. That's the part of the Arcana that a lot of people like, is the dog. And you can have the dog as a dog. You can be a dog with a dog. When you right click, she makes a very angry face, and I find that fun. One of the other things I like about this is it actually kind of takes itself seriously. Like the wolf voice is like kind of intimidating and has like a defensive, like a guardian personality to it. It's like not here to kill people because it's fun, the way that CM is a little bit. It just takes itself seriously. Not a whole lot of the new things in Dota do that. I mean, look at Kez. Listen to one random Kez line and you'll be like, oh my god. But CM doesn't fall into that trap at all. It's very good. On top of that, the variants are very good that we've had for this so far, and the ones that we're going to get, hopefully coming up in the collector's cache. So this is an S. The problem with it, and why I wouldn't blame you if you had it lower, CM has a great Arcana. CM has a fantastic Arcana, not just because of the dog, but she flies in the air, all of her abilities look amazing, you get the wolves howling during her ultimate, all of that is great, and you have to give it all up in order to use this. I have this, I still use the CM Arcana, which maybe makes it a little hypocritical that I'm putting it in S, but like, shut up. It is, in my opinion, the best persona because of how different it is from the normal hero. And I would like to see more personas go this route in the future. And finally, the PA. The PA one is an A+ for me. I use it. I use the variant where he looks like a solitaire from Warhammer 40k, because I think that's very cool. And if you know what a solitaire is, you will know which variant I'm talking about. If you don't know, it's the one where he has like a bit of a jester motif going on. But it's like a cool, edgy jester boy thing. I'm a big fan of that. This one is also pretty edgy, pretty deep on the anime spectrum. A lot of anime on the spectrum. The backstory for this is like pretty vague. The idea is that a bunch of like PA's co-workers broke off from the order and then like raised a baby to kill them, which is like very weird. Other than that, we don't really know anything. We don't know why he has that eye scar. We don't know why his eyes glow blue. I assume he went through some like Witcher genetic mutation training and that's the reason why, but we don't know for sure. The big thing about this, because I complained about how Anti-Mages is too much like Anti-Mage, the PA persona is very distinct from the original PA, and I like that a lot. The biggest reason for this is because of the weapons. So PA has like a weird, it's very dependent on what set you have, but she just has like a one-handed bladed thing, right? Sometimes it's a scythe, oftentimes it's a knife. Some people, it's like a weird, like a fan. I don't, like, it's just a really weird thing that has no like real world historical analog. PA persona also has a goofy weapon. It's like a two-sided polearm halberd thing, and then he also has a knife in his other hand. And having those two very distinct weapons completely changes the look and feel of the hero relative to PA, who is very much so a hero centered around her weapon. So with this, you're going to be right-clicking, you're going to be throwing daggers. All of your right-clicks look completely different. All of your daggers look completely different. The sound effects, I think, are still the same, but like that's okay. It's really good, and it gives a lot of variety to the variants. So the weapons can also change quite a bit depending on this guy, but because of just the baseline of it is a long stick and a short dagger, you get a ton of variety that is always distinct from PA, and that's great design. The voice is very fun. He's very like dark and edgy anime villain type thing, but he doesn't seem like a bad guy, to be completely honest. I wouldn't want to hang out with him, but he doesn't seem like a villain to me. Overall, I think because it is so distinct from PA, it is a very good persona, and it fits not nearly as extreme as the CM Wolf, for example, but it is a big enough departure that I like it a lot. Downside is you're giving up on the persona or the Arcana, and PA also has a very good Arcana, and that's difficult. PA also has some really good immortals. She's got the head with the tail coming out of it that I really like. She's got a lot of really cool weapons that you can pick from. I think she's got a Crimson Witness or two, maybe. I think the head is the Crimson Witness. So you're giving up a lot in order to use this, but I think it is worth it. I think it's very good. So here you go. Of the 7 personas in the game, here's what I think about them. I think CM is the best. Invoker is like very good, plus it gets a little bit of forgiveness for being like one of the first ones. Mirana's is quite good, mostly because her base model is like shit. So that helps a lot. As long as you do the sauce where you use the original cape with the upgraded armor. Trust me, it looks so good. It looks so good. PA's is good because of how distinct it is, but there is a bigger opportunity cost, I think. Anti-Mage's is too similar to normal Anti-Mage, and then all of the variants are the same thing. So, like, please make more interesting variants of AM that don't just turn her into a samurai. And then Dragon Knights is also pretty good. It's got the swappables, just like Mirana, but it's just not as interesting because the base DK, it has a much bigger opportunity cost. And then the Pudge one, I just personally find it annoying, and I think the Arcana is way better. I don't... I guess you would never know because you don't know who does and doesn't have the Arcana when they use the persona, but I imagine the majority of people who have both prefer using the Arcana. But I don't know for sure. If you have the Mariachi one, though, it's probably like an A. So that's all I have to say. In conclusion, pretty much all of the personas are good. Just some are better than others. I think they're at their best when they completely redesign the hero. You can also categorize all of them as being like... So like Pudge and Invoker are funny. Mirana and DK are crossovers. Anti-Mage and PA are edgy. And then CM is a furry. Don't extrapolate any information by the fact that, well, I don't think you can be a wolf and a furry. I think you need to stand on 2 legs to be a furry, but I'm not in charge of that. I'm sure someone in the comments is, though, so please let me know. This is usually where I would predict a future persona or raise an idea. It's a total crapshoot. This is just like something that Valve will like do someday. The Crownfall sequel that allegedly got leaked, a screenshot of it on Discord. I don't believe that shit, by the way. Maybe one will come in there, and it'll be quite good. If I did have a request, I would like to see Necrophos turn into a writhing pile of sludge, like I mentioned in that one wall of text in the something, maybe in the Arcana video, where I talked about how Nature's Prophet would be the most sensical hero to get an Arcana. I hope that hero gets nerfed to shit for the next 4 years. As far as least wanted personas, please do not turn Ringmaster into a Tumblr sexy man. I would not tolerate that. I would have to I would have to do something. That's all I have to say. So disagree, agree, that's fine. You can have your own opinions. I'm not your dad. Thank you very much for watching, and peace on planet Earth.